Today's episode of Variant is brought to you by Domain.com. Today on Variant, I tell you what I think the 9 untitled DC movies should be. Welcome to Variant. We love comics more than I miss coming home from school and watching Batman the Animated Series and Power Rangers. I'm your host, Aris Quinones. Several weeks back, Warner Brothers and DC Comics released dates for 9 untitled DC comic book movies. And since they haven't officially told us what those movies are yet, at least not at the time this episode is being shot, I'm going to tell you what I think those 9 movies should be. The release dates for these DC untitled films range from August 5th of 2016 through June 19th of 2020. Now clearly this is the start of the DC Cinematic Universe, with Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice kicking it off March 25th of 2016. With that said, there's been a bunch of rumors and speculations floating around the internet on what these movies are going to be. Like a Wonder Woman movie, which is pretty much guaranteed, a Shazam film, which is also true, and then you have a Sandman movie, which a lot of people are saying might be one. One of my favorite ones mentioned, however, is a Flash and Green Lantern team-up movie. That could be amazing if done right. And of course, we have the confirmed Aquaman and Justice League movie. Now I'm saying some of these movies I just mentioned are rumored or speculation because not all of them have been confirmed officially through Warner Brothers or DC Comics during the time of me shooting this episode. If things have changed, however, then on behalf of the past, I apologize and say, hello future. With that out of the way, I'm going to tell you what I think the 9 movies should be. Logically, 4 slots are already taken and or confirmed. And there are 4 movies I really want to see happen, so I'm going to start with those. The 4 would be Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, and Justice League. The reasoning why they're logically going to happen and why I want them to happen is as follows. Wonder Woman, we already know, is in Batman v Superman, which that alone guarantees she's going to be getting a solo film soon after. I mean, she's 1/3 of the DC Trinity, along with being one of the most famous superheroes of all time. Plus, she has yet to ever get her own feature film. And since this is the age of superhero blockbuster movies, there's no better time than right now. Plus, it's about time we get a lead female hero in a blockbuster movie. For the most part, it's a real sausage fest right now. So let's just hope Gal Gadot is good as Wonder Woman. Moving along, we have the highly polarized Aquaman film. I say polarized because a lot of people are always picking on him, saying he's a stupid hero, when I actually think he's one of the cooler superheroes out there. If you don't agree with me, watch my History of Aquaman episode. I think that may change your mind. But yes, I've wanted an Aquaman movie forever, and apparently Jason Momoa is set to play him and possibly even make a cameo in the Batman v Superman film, which is most likely true, as Zack Snyder recently called in a radio station defending Aquaman, saying how cool of a character he is. Think about it though, a movie that mainly takes place underwater in Atlantis. Just imagine how cool of a world they could create with all the VFX these days and all the awesome stuff Aquaman would be able to do with the water. The fight scenes would be nuts with huge sharks, Atlanteans, and a f***ing Kraken. Then of course I want, and we are getting, the highly anticipated Justice League movie, which I don't even think I have to elaborate on this. It's the Justice League. Yes, please, and thank you. And for the last of these 4, we have Shazam. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been confirmed to play the villain Black Adam, which I'm really curious to see. As some of you may or may not know, Shazam is one of my favorite superheroes. I just really love the idea of a kid transforming into a superhero, and his mythos is just really cool. If you don't believe me, check out my History of Shazam episode. That's the second time I referred to a past video of mine in this episode. I'm just whoring myself out today. Anyway, the magic elements and sheer power of Shazam would be great to see in a feature film, especially if they took inspiration from Geoff Johns and Gary Frank's retelling of Shazam's origin in The New 52. I personally thought it was a great update to the character. With all that said, that leaves me with 5 more movies to choose. So for the 5th movie, I picked The Flash. What a lot of people don't realize is how powerful of a character The Flash actually is with his access to the Speed Force. I mean, his speed already looks cool in the Flash TV show from what we've seen thus far, so imagine a Flash film with $100+ million budget. And I know me and a bunch of other Flash fans are dying to see the Rogues in a feature film. The next DC movie I would like to see made is World's Finest. Now I know some of you are like, that's a waste of a pick, Aris. That's essentially what Batman v Superman is. And yes, it is, sort of, but the main difference is they're most likely not going to become allies in Batman v Superman till the very end of the movie. So now you may be saying, well, in the Justice League movie, you'll get to see them fight side by side, and you're right. But I think a movie with their relationship and partnership established from the very beginning that's just focusing on the 2 of them would be awesome. It would be like all their team-up titles come to life. But either way, I do know this is more of a selfish pick since we will already see them together in Batman v Superman. So all I guess I'm really saying is, I want a sequel to Batman v Superman. Moving on yet again, I want a Green Lantern reboot. I think most of us can agree that the first one just needs to be forgotten and rebooted. Just burn it and start from scratch. I know earlier I said there's a Green Lantern Flash movie in the works, which I still think could be awesome. But before they do, I want a solo Flash movie, as I said earlier, since he's never been on the big screen before. And a solo Green Lantern movie since, well, his first one was, let's just say, terrible. And even though Hal Jordan is my favorite Green Lantern, I think I would want the movie to be focused on John Stewart Green Lantern. I mean, that was the Green Lantern a lot of people grew up with anyway, since he was the Green Lantern in the Justice League cartoons. Plus, he's one of my top 3 favorite Green Lanterns, so I would love to see him a part of the Justice League and even his own solo film. And I think I've said it on the show before, I would want Idris Elba to play him. Just look at that picture. Yeah, that would be awesome. On to my second to last pick, I'm going with the obvious pick, and that would be a Justice League sequel. Let's face it, we're all going to want a trilogy, and we're most likely going to be getting one anyway. And why are we all going to want another Justice League film? Because that means more villains and more members of the Justice League can be introduced. It gives more opportunities to see villains like Despero, Amazo, the Secret Society of Supervillains, Darkseid, and the list goes on. And then our chances are better to see other Justice League members like Firestorm, Hawkgirl, Green Arrow, Red Tornado, and mother freaking Martian Manhunter. I want to see him in a live action movie so bad. I think he's a highly underrated character and just awesome all the way around. And finishing off my list is none other than a Batman Beyond film. I think I've been really vocal about wanting a Batman Beyond movie. It was even my #1 pick in my top 5 comics that should be made into a movie episode. And a lot of people grew up on the Batman Beyond cartoon, so it already has a huge fan base. I just really want this movie to get made. Imagine how cool it would look. And as I've said before, if it got made, it would be bringing one of my favorite comics to life, and it would also be bringing one of my favorite cartoons to life. But yes, those are just my personal picks. I'm sure you guys have other DC movies you would like to see first, so let me know what those are in the comments section down below. I always like to see your list. There's no right or wrong with these lists. It all just comes down to personal preference. I know this list was hard for me to make, especially with the Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Justice League, and Shazam movies pretty much already set in stone, if not already set in stone. But some honorable mentions would be Teen Titans, Suicide Squad, Nightwing, and then you could even have Deathstroke in the movie with him. That would be awesome. When you buy a domain name at domain.com, you get the power to influence and control what people find when they search for you online. No domain extension will help you tell your story better like a .com or .net domain name. Domain.com is affordable, reliable, and easy to use. The guys at domain.com gave Variants an awesome offer. Get 15% off domain.com's already affordable domain names and web hosting when you use the coupon code Variants at checkout. So when you think domain names, think domain.com. First up for Wednesday, September 10th, we have Deadpool issue 34. Flashback to the 90s as we learn one of Deadpool's darkest secrets. Next, we have Death of Wolverine issue 2. Putting it simple, if you're a Wolverine fan and you're not reading this, what's wrong with you? Here we have Batman Future's End one-shot. It's 5 years later and Bruce Wayne is using dangerous science to help him continue his war on crime. What is it, and what has forced Bruce to resort to such extremes? And finally, we have Superman Unchained issue 8. This is the second to last issue in this awesome series, written by Scott Snyder and drawn by Jim Lee. In this issue, the full truth of who or what Wraith is finally comes to light. Well, that brings another episode of Variant to a close, and that saddens me. But until next week, you can like our Variant Facebook page to keep up with the show and all things comic related. You can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Eris_Quinones. But I will see you guys next week when I talk about all things comics. Soon after. I mean, she's the 1/3 of the DC Trinity. Later in film. Last of these 4, we have Shazam. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Anyway.